Hello, everybody. What's up? Hi, Emanuela. What's up, SML? How's everybody doing today? Happy Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yes. It is Wednesday, yeah. We are halfway through the week. What do you guys want to talk about today in our pre-show before we get down to all the news of the day? China and the U.S. seek the right way to coexist. Mutual respect and win-win cooperation are key. I mean, those are very wonderful words and something that we all hope for. So, I don't know. Maybe that's the case. I was watching Tom Yamas's reporting, who has been out there for the week, and he is just doing a stellar job. But he was talking to a colonel from the Chinese Army, a former colonel, and he asked him, "Are you like does China see the United States as an ally, an enemy, a foe, or how does China see the U.S.?" And he basically was like, "We don't see you as a friend, we don't see you as a foe, we see you as a competitor." But he said the most important thing is that back in the day, it was ideology that put China and the United States at odds. And now he says that at least China and the United States share this framework, like a playing field for competition. And that playing field for competition, I think he was alluding to, the global economy. But I thought that was pretty interesting. What do you guys think? Can we get along with China? Like, maybe we don't, I don't know, need to have everything be so zero-sum? That'd be nice, right? SML, interesting flag. I'm doing pretty good. Let's see, who's on the floor? Ooh, Robbie. Robbie's on the Ronin.
Hi, guys.
Robbie's on the Ronin, and I think I saw a certain Lisa Lease. Let's see, where is she here? What happened, Lisa? Where are you? Your connection dropped? Don't worry, Lisa's going to be back. She is back in action. She is just taking names. So yeah, Lisa is in the house. Chiron Chen, have you been watching some of the reporting coming out of Beijing with Tom? Lisa's just coming up. Let me see if I can pop her up. There she is. Hi, Lisa. Aw, I love this shot. This shot is so great. This shot is so great. Imagine if we had Slack up. Yes.
We're working on it.
I know. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Today is...
Oh, you didn't hear what our director Sean was pitching last night. He wants more cameras in here. He wants a full reality show based, following everything around everywhere.
Oh my God. So I gotta say, if there was a camera on Sean, he would steal the show.
I mean, he's right here.
Take that kind of stuff. Oh,
Hey,
that would be. Did you hear, Sean? You would totally steal. We should totally do that. A Sean camera with you just directing. Oh, that would be the best. Yep.
We were talking about this is because I was listening to him yesterday on the PL from home, and he's thoroughly entertaining.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be really, really
I have to
cool.
get my little.
those are all the same ones.
Awesome Nova asks, is the camera meant to be live? Oh no, we're live? Oh, shoot, they can see us right now? Yes, this is meant to be live. I know it looks like a little weird behind the scenes thing. No, we're trying this new experiment over here for my show. Stay tuned now. And the experiment is what happens if we just have a cool conversation all throughout the newscast with our viewers. And so, we're experimenting right now on TikTok, on Twitch, on YouTube, and it is the only show on planet Earth where you can come, hang out before the show. We have a nice little chat right here. And then during the commercial breaks, you've got the TV on, and then right here you can chat with us. So if you have a question or you want to talk about something that you just saw, feel free to weigh in, and then we'll talk about it. And during the segments, sometimes if I can dart my eyes away, I'll try to read the comments. So like a lot of times we'll see really smart questions that are asked in the comments section, and I will immediately take those and I will ask the experts or the correspondents that we have throughout the world. And it's really a wonderful, wonderful experience. So we've got some people that are here pretty regularly, and Jay Place, SML, hi. It's a community. MS, good to see you. And we want to keep it going. We want to keep it going. We don't want it to get too big, because it's fun when it's manageable. Tell your friends and your family, and that's it, for now. But yeah, it's a very, very fun thing. America, are you okay? ICE, tariffs, and more. MS, where are you watching from? Jay Place, that's a great question, but in Sean, I trust. I trust his vision. SML, the coffee mug disappeared. It was here, and now it's not, and I suspect that Big Mike had something to do with it. MS, worried and concerned. Okay, so tell me where you're watching from. Oh, it's back. Big Mike is
playing the little magic trick.
Yeah.
Hi, SML. What's going on? We got Robbie right here.
I know. We got Robbie on the Ronin. NJ, how's it going? Good to see you. Everybody says hello, Mike. All right. And MS, you still haven't answered our question. What country are you watching from? We've got all kinds of different viewers from different places. We've got, Ireland sometimes. We've got Always Cold in the Six representing Canada. We got SML representing the country of Florida, if I remember correctly.
Country of Florida, that is correct.
Yes. Case chaos and Japan's chaos. I see their chaos, and it is getting very, very chaotic with the Prime Minister right now. But, let's see. No, they've got the same job. So it's Big Mike today. Hi. Ooh, so Hi is out in New York. He's very close to 30 Rock, which is right here and down there. I hope it is. I hope everything is going very well, MS. Let's see. Did I already meet she? I think that they meet in 2 hours. Is that right? That they meet in 2. Wait, where?
Yeah, I believe we're gonna have pictures coming up about 10:30. I think are we taking that live? You're saying on News Now? Are we gonna take live pictures of the meeting? Yeah. We won't be here anymore, but our colleagues will be doing it.
I think that's coming up. They may have. Look, we're not 100% sure. We have not seen any video of any sort of meeting. Maybe we don't know the dignitaries that were there on hand to greet Trump, but we know it's going to happen definitely tonight. It's a little weird with the time difference, but a lot of that is happening tonight for us here in the United States, and we're going to have coverage of it throughout the night on NBC News Now. So make sure to watch. Let's see. Very, very nice. Special report tonight. We'll see. Yeah, who's doing the special? Are we doing a special report on it?
No, I believe it'll fall into the specials teams. So
Okay.
probably Francis Rivera.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you totally should. Hi. You got to take a tour of 30 Rock. And if you're
How good are my tours of 30 Rock? Thank you very much.
Oh, they're very good. They're very, very good. It's you and Savannah Sellers are the best tour guides of 30 Rock. Let's see here. Okay, so today we are going to be leading with the verdict that has overturned the conviction of Alec Murdaugh. You might remember Alec Murdaugh as that very prominent South Carolina lawyer who was convicted of killing his wife and his son. I think it was 3 years ago, and then all of a sudden, Supreme Court overturned that conviction. And it looks like they're maybe heading to a retrial. We're trying to get details on when that might be, but it is it is just sending shockwaves throughout the local community there, the legal community, so many questions about what went wrong, and it seems like it all comes back down to a court clerk and the way that she was allegedly interacting with the jury, and boom, all of a sudden, everything is upside down. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to catch you up. Dateline has been on it. We've been reporting it for years, and so we'll give you a full overview in about 2 minutes. So that's what we're leading with. Then we're going to talk about this meeting that's happening in China, the two global superpowers coming together to talk about the economy and possibly Taiwan. We'll see how that goes. And then we're ending the show. Let's just skip to the end because it's my favorite part. Space! We're talking about Artemis 3. Artemis 3, we finally are getting some updates. Like, if you're a space junkie like I am, and you keep checking NASA's website, and they still have the old, like, Artemis 3 timeline and the Artemis 3, mission profile, it's changed. And they haven't said exactly how it's going to change. Today, we got a little bit more insight. But, yeah, shoot, I forgot my rockets. I'll have to go get my rockets from my office in a little bit. Yes. Shot by Alaska's news source. James, are you affiliated?
1 minute.
James, are you out in Alaska? 1 minute. Have a good show. Awesome Nova. Artemis 3. I knew I liked your name. New Jersey, Cheryl. Hello. Welcome. Let's see here. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start over here. I'm going to try not to limp, and here we go. So in about 30 seconds, if you're just joining us, this is going to be the top of the show, and we will be off to the races. And then during commercial breaks, we'll come back and we'll chat. All right, let me see. I'm going to try to memorize this first part because I can't really see from that far. Okay. So we go from here to...
Stay there.
Okay.
2 sound bites. Back to the
And then back to the desk for Aaron right here. Okay, got it. And where is Aaron tonight? Is he at DC? Hey, I'm Gotti Schwartz, and tonight we start in South Carolina, where a bombshell ruling from the state's Supreme Court just overturned one of the biggest murder trials the state has ever seen. The court overturning the double murder conviction of Alec Murdaugh after he was found guilty of killing his wife and one of his sons back in 2023. Now, that stunning reversal after an alleged jury interference by a court clerk, Becky Hill, after the justices say she egregiously attacked Murdaugh's credibility in his defense, thus triggering the presumption of prejudice. The state's attorney general says, yes, that happened, but it didn't affect the verdict. Listen.
My office's position has always been that the conduct, while inappropriate and should never be condoned, was ultimately harmless as it related to prejudicing Alec Murdaugh's right to a fair trial.
Now, the news sending shockwaves throughout South Carolina, where the influential Murdaugh family is a local dynasty. And already one of the jurors is sounding off. Take a listen.
So then I go to Google and I look, and it pops up obviously because it's now news, and I see where it says that the Supreme Court overturned, and I was like, what? Why? The evidence was overwhelming. He was guilty.
Murdaugh now facing a new trial sometime in the future. But keep in mind, this alone is not enough to make him a free man. Right now, he is still behind bars, serving time for financial crimes from a separate trial. First, let's get out to NBC News national correspondent Aaron Gilchrist. Aaron, what a seismic shock here. Let's bring people at home up to speed with some of the key moments from the trial that ended with the conviction of murder for his wife and son. And a lot of it culminated when Murdaugh took the stand. Let's look back.
I could see his brain laying on the sidewalk. I didn't know what to do.
Did you get on your shirt high velocity blood spatter from being within a distance of a shooting Maggie or Paul?
There's no way that I had high velocity blood spatter on me.
Pretty much all of that was lies, wasn't it?
The part about me not being at the kennel was a lie. I admit candidly in all of these cases, Mr. Waters, that I took money that was not mine and I shouldn't have done it.
There was so much that went into this trial, and yet what we're hearing now is that this decision had to do with what was going on outside of the view of the judge, outside of the view of the lawyers. What else do we know here, Aaron?
You know, this decision that we got from the South Carolina Supreme Court went so far as to say that the judge and the lawyers in this case did everything that they were supposed to do. There was nothing wrong with the way this trial was carried out and executed by the defense lawyers and the prosecutors in this case. The Supreme Court in South Carolina really took issue with this court clerk. Becky Hill was the Colleton County court clerk at the time of this trial. She was the woman who you would see literally at the right hand of the judge there during the course of the trial. She was very much involved with just sort of handling the jury, making sure they had what they needed. She handled the evidence in some cases as well, making sure that it was all ready and prepared and documented correctly. And so the court said that the fact that she had an interaction with at least one member of the jury during the course of this trial, the fact that she said to members of the jury things that would call into question the credibility of Alec Murdaugh, the court said that was an issue, that was something that never should have happened, and even if it didn't impact the outcome of the trial in terms of the jury's ultimate ability to come to a decision, it shouldn't have happened. She was an employee of the state, and it was wrong, and for that reason, it denied Alec Murdaugh his ability to have a fair trial, or the most fair trial that was possible. And so the court said this needs to go back. There needs to be another trial. They said that Hill placed her fingers on the scales of justice, and they want there to be a new trial for Alec Murdaugh, Gotti.
Yeah, and what happened to Hill after the trial? I mean, she was she was investigated and then put on trial as well, right? And she was writing a book at one time?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There was a book deal that she had, and a book that was supposed to be published just a few months after the trial ended back in 2023. The publisher found some issues with some of the work that she did on this book too, and so that became a problem. But we also know that she was arrested, and she was charged not with tampering with the jury, as the defense team had alleged at one point in time, and as this decision by the Supreme Court in South Carolina would seem to indicate as well. Instead, she was charged with sharing sealed information, sealed exhibits with a photographer, and then lying to a judge about it. Ultimately, she took a deal late last year and didn't receive any jail time for those charges. Rather, she was put on probation and had to pay some restitution as well, Gotti.
Meanwhile, as we understand it, Murdaugh, he's going to remain in jail for the financial crimes, right? Which was a whole separate case. Is there any chance that those convictions may be overturned too, or is he definitely going to be in jail as this all plays out?
It doesn't seem like there's really any possibility of those things being overturned. He took plea deals in those cases. He pled guilty to federal financial crimes. He pled guilty to state financial crimes as well. And you'll remember that it was those financial crimes that came up during this murder trial. And the prosecutors said that this was all supposed to be a distraction from those financial crimes, because the Murdaugh family name was one that is so widely known in South Carolina. His father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather were all prosecutors in that area. And so he didn't want his name to be sullied, and as a result, wanted to sort of cover up these crimes in the way that he could. That was the accusation that was leveled against him. And ultimately, those crimes came to light, those financial crimes, and now he's serving a 40-year federal sentence, a 27-year state sentence on those federal crimes, and they're supposed to run concurrently, Daddy.
NBC's Aaron Gilchrist, thank you so much. And the Alec Murdaugh trial captured national attention with those shocking allegations and then those dramatic twists. Back in 2023, a Dateline episode took viewers back inside the case through the eyes of the investigators themselves. NBC's Craig Melvin walked us through some of the biggest moments surrounding that investigation.
Did you know in that moment that the case had been blown wide open?
Oh, yes.
First State Attorney General Alan Wilson, the discovery was a game changer.
The aha moment for me was the kennel video.
It showed that he was there within minutes of their murder, and it gave me the comfort factor that I needed to be able to indict.
On July 14, 2022, Alec Murdaugh was indicted for killing his wife and son. He pleaded not guilty.
How shall you be tried? By God and my country.
Alec Murdaugh was headed to trial. But
it was a completely circumstantial case. A lot of people didn't believe that there would be a conviction, either because of who the defendant was or because of the evidence they knew of. And so at the beginning, there was a distinct possibility that we would lose the case.
the investigation was far from over. Some of the most critical evidence against Alec wouldn't appear until the jury was already seated. A mere 6 months passed between Alec Murdaugh's indictment and the start of his double murder trial. For prosecutor Creighton Waters, that meant a time frame that's almost unheard of.
The defense asked for a speedy trial, and I think a little bit to their surprise, we gave them one.
Do you think they thought that the state wouldn't be ready in time?
I think they thought there was no way and that we would ever be able to pull it off that quickly. I mean, that was actually an insane speed to bring it to trial.
Insane, yes, but Waters said the time crunch was also motivating.
Let's just go ahead and do this thing.
On January 25th, 12 jurors settled into their seats in this historic Colleton County courtroom, the same room where generations of Murdaughs had tried cases, including the man at the defense table, Alec Murdaugh. How had this man, who'd seemingly had it all, ended up here?
People, I think, have a hard time because they try to apply their own rational, logical, normal thought processes to what is inherently irrational and illogical and abnormal.
You're going to hear some of what was going on in Alec Murdaugh's life leading up to that day. Stuff that happened.
In his opening statement, Prosecutor Waters planted the seed for jurors that the events of June 7th could not be viewed in isolation. He believed the winds had been swirling around Alec Murdaugh for years, a gathering storm of secrets, lies, and cover-ups, all culminating in murder.
You're going to reach the inescapable conclusion that Alec murdered Maggie and Paul, that he was the storm, that the storm was coming for them, and that they died as a result.
The prosecution's most crucial testimony, of course, was that cell phone video that placed Alec at the kennels calling the family dog Bubba just minutes, apparently, before Paul and Maggie were shot.
Come here,
Half a dozen witnesses were asked to identify the voices on that video, and the answer was always the same.
Whose voices did you recognize on that video?
Paul Murdaugh, Maggie Murdaugh, and Alex Murdaugh.
Paul Murdaugh, Maggie Murdaugh, and Alec Murdaugh.
Paul, Miss Maggie, and Mr. Alec.
The Murdaugh's housekeeper, Blanca, was also a key witness for the prosecution.
I was nervous. I hadn't seen him face to face. I hadn't talked to him. So when I walked in, I could sense like he was trying to get me to look over. I couldn't do it.
Blanca was emotional as she described arriving at Moselle the morning after the murders.
It was hard because I know she wasn't going to be coming back.
A main part of Blanca's testimony centered on what Alec was wearing the day of the murders. It appeared he wore at least 3 different shirts. SLED got one of them, this white t-shirt, which prompted a question. Had Alec gotten rid of a shirt that might have contained evidence? A few months after the murders, Blanca says Alec pressed her to remember him wearing a particular shirt that day.
He was pacing back and forth in the living room, and he said, I got a bad feeling. He said, something's not right. And then he said, well, you know, there was a video that was out, and he said, you remember the shirt I was wearing? I didn't say anything, but I was kind of thrown back because I don't remember that. It felt more like he was telling me, you know, this is what I was wearing. It didn't sound like he was asking me what was I wearing.
Did it strike you as odd?
Yeah, it's almost like I had heartburn when he was asking me that.
Prosecutor Waters believes Alec thought he could manipulate Blanca into saying what he wanted her to say.
I think that was a prime example of the influence he was used to wielding.
Influence the state believed he'd used to steal millions of dollars from victims, financial crimes that were about to be exposed by the civil case against him. And that's why prosecutors argued Alec killed his wife and son. He believed their death would make him a sympathetic defendant, deflect attention away from his financial crimes, and perhaps derail the civil case entirely.
I think the biggest thing that the timeline did for the jury was to show that at 8:49, Maggie and Paul stopped operations on their phone. It was just that aha moment of, yes, now we know that this is when they died.
But when the trial began, Rudofsky's timeline was missing some key information. Then, halfway through, General Motors finally handed over long-awaited digital data from Alec's Suburban. Rudofsky had just one weekend to make sense of it all.
I don't get it until around 7 o'clock on Saturday. But by the next morning, we had everything plotted and ready to go to the defense, ready to go to the AG's office.
You pulled an old school all-nighter?
Mm-hmm, that is correct.
The data showed how fast Alec was driving that night. When he passed the side of the road where Maggie's phone was found, he was going 42 miles per hour, slow enough to throw it out the window.
After passing that location, does the defendant's vehicle start to accelerate?
It does.
The Suburban sped up to 74 miles an hour, reaching his mom's home at 9:22 p.m. He stayed there 21 minutes, long enough to establish an alibi and perhaps discard evidence. He then sped back to Moselle, reaching 80 miles per hour. Those high speeds got Rudofsky's attention. Was it a sign Alec was frantic after committing the murders?
Why were you going so fast if you didn't know something occurred and it's just, a normal visit to your mom's house? Because during the day earlier, he didn't reach those speeds. I think he reached a max of 60 coming back from the office and going to the office.
That was a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Please hurry. We're getting somebody out there to you.
Alec called 911 just 17 seconds after he arrived back at the kennels. That didn't give him enough time to check the bodies, as he said he did, before placing the call. With that, the prosecution rested. And now, it was the defense's turn to make its case, which it would do by going on the attack against Sled's investigation and presenting an unforgettable witness at the center of it all.
I am going to testify. I want to testify.
But how would he explain away the cell phone video that placed him at the kennels with Bubba just moments before Paul and Maggie were shot?
Were you in fact at the kennels at 8:44 p.m. on the night Maggie and Paul were murdered?
I was.
Did you lie to Sled Agent Owen and Deputy Laura Rutland on the night of June 7th?
I did lie to them.
So why did he lie? He said his addiction to painkillers was the reason.
I wasn't thinking clearly. I don't think I was capable of reason. And I lied about being down there. And I'm so sorry that I did. Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
The first time I ever heard him say that he was on that kennel video was when he got up on the stand.
The video was damning.
The video was damning, and I think also what was damning was he was lying about lying. And I think the jury saw that.
When the time came for Waters to cross-examine Alec, he knew the eyes of the world were watching.
Did you watch or read any of the coverage or the analysis during the trial?
Not really. There's going to be a lot of criticism, but you just can't let that get off your game. I still get to look at those jurors in the eyes. This is a South Carolina jury, a South Carolina case. It's not Hollywood.
And you've been able to lie quickly and easily and convincingly if you think it'll save your skin for well over a decade. Isn't that true?
I have lied well over a decade.
I kind of wanted him to continue to perfect his lie in front of the jury and for them to watch him lie in real time and sort of work on that, which is why I let him answer a lot of questions.
Mr. Murdoch, are you a family annihilator?
A family annihilator? You mean like, did I shoot my wife and my son?
Yes.
No.
Nothing further.
Do you think putting him on the stand hurt their case?
Yeah, I don't think it helped it.
After 6 weeks of trial, the case went to the jury.
The defendant will rise.
Less than 3 hours later, a verdict.
Guilty verdict.
The next day, in the very courtroom where his father, grandfather, and great-grandfather had prosecuted cases before him, Alec Murdaugh was sentenced for killing his wife and son.
I sentence you for a term for the rest of your natural life.
Judge Clifton Newman, who has served on the bench for more than 20 years, had a question for Alec about something he said on the stand.
Oh, what tangle, web we weave. What did you mean by that?
It meant when I lied, I continue to lie.
And the question is, when will it end?
A once charmed life now would be spent behind bars. Or would it? Turns out, the Alec Murdaugh saga is far from over.
Greg Melvin, thank you so much for that. Let's bring in Greg Adeline from our affiliate station in South Carolina. Greg, just watching that, I'm not sure if you're able to see that, but, you know, reliving that case, remembering all of those moments, remembering the mountains and mountains of evidence that were presented. It's going to be very difficult for the community to have to come to terms with all of that again. For those of us outside of South Carolina, can you put this case into perspective for us? The Murdaugh family, who they were in the community, it is hard to understate their role, right?
Well, that's exactly right. You have to understand, if you're outside the state of South Carolina, that the Murdaughs essentially were the law in the Low Country. Several generations of Murdaughs occupied the solicitor's office there in the 14th Circuit. And so it was Alec Murdaugh's grandfather, great-grandfather, and members of his family who occupied that office. In fact, you'll remember back in the trial in 2023, the painting of Alec Murdaugh's grandfather was taken off the wall at the Colleton County Courthouse as Alec Murdaugh went on trial in the very courtroom where he argued cases for years as a lawyer with PMPED. So they're definitely a renowned family in South Carolina. And again, difficult to overstate the fact that they were the law in that community for all of those years. And so definitely top of mind for people in the Low Country. And, you know, not only did this case bring the world to Walterboro, to that small town, but you simply got a sense very early on of just how much of a grip and power the Murdaugh family had in that community for a century.
What do you think a retrial is going to do to that community?
Well, you know, this was top of mind and top of conversation for so many people here in South Carolina and across the nation. And when it came to the case itself in Walterboro, I think the big thing right now is, especially as you heard the Attorney General earlier today say that they would do a potential retrial in Walterboro, back at the same spot, the same venue where the first trial was held. The question now, I think on a lot of people's mind is, are you going to be able to find a pool of jurors? You'll remember the first time around, it took a pretty good amount of time to find people who had not heard of this case. This case has received national attention. So many documentaries have been made in regard to the Murdaugh dynasty and all of the events of this case. People knew the Murdaughs, and so finding people who are impartial or not touched when it comes to this case, this trial, very difficult. And now a second time around, after a conviction 3 years ago, to find jurors who might be able to sit there impartially or not have a take on this, I think it's going to be a pretty tall task.
No, it sure sounds like it. I mean, he was so notable before the trial started. If they were having that much difficulty, I can't imagine what it's going to be like after this case. And that trial garnered so much attention. Greg Adeline, really appreciate all your reporting. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's take you back to January 2024. The court county clerk, Becky Hill, taking the stand to address allegations of jury tampering during the Alec Murdaugh trial. Under oath, Hill admitted to giving jurors a little pep talk about it being a big day, but denied attempting to influence them. Listen to part of her testimony here.
During the course of the trial, did you have any discussion or interaction with the jurors about them giving any interviews to the media or making themselves available to the media? I'm asking during the course of the trial itself.
No, not during the course of the trial.
After the verdict had been reached and the case was in sentencing, did you have any conversation with any jurors at that time, after they had already entered their verdict and been individually polled?
Yes, after the sentencing.
All right, and tell the court what that interaction was at that time.
There were several outlets, news outlets, that wanted to interview the jury as a whole and really wanted to get them up to New York. And so I was trying to get a hold of all the jurors to talk about that. That was something we had not prepared for.
Did you at all pressure the jurors to speak, or did you just tell them that it was their option to speak or not, and here's the contact information?
I did not pressure the jury to speak. No.
Did you advise them that it was their decision and their decision alone whether or not they wished to speak to the media?
It was totally their decision.
And did you advise them of that?
Yes, yes.
I'm going to ask it again, but I just want to be sure. At any time, did you make any comment to any juror or in the presence of any juror in which you at all tried to influence them in favor of one side or against another?
I did not.
Did you understand, being a longtime court employee and clerk of court, that that is outside the boundaries of what is appropriate interactions with the jurors during the course of the trial?
Absolutely.
And at any time did you violate that rule that you understood?
I did not.
Interesting. And now, obviously, the Supreme Court there in South Carolina begs to differ. I want to bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris. Angela Cinnadella, great to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a unanimous decision by the South Carolina Supreme Court. Are you surprised by their decision here, Misty?
No, I'm not surprised, because I actually watched the oral arguments back in February, and the court and the justices' questions to the prosecutors really signaled that this was going to be the result. So what they needed to look at was, did Becky Hill engage in misconduct? They determined yes. But then the second question, more complicated, did that matter? Was it something that actually impacted the jury's decision? And what the justices had really pressed the prosecution on was that this was a case that they were putting together. It was largely circumstantial. So if Becky Hill is making comments about the credibility of the defendant who's taking the stand, pressuring them to come to a certain verdict, how are the justices supposed to separate that from what ultimately happened? So hearing those oral arguments, there was a lot of foreshadowing for what we saw in this decision.
And Angela, what do you make of this? The justices basically saying the county clerk or the court clerk, Becky Hill, was looking for celebrity here. What is the role of a clerk like her?
So the role of a clerk really is not supposed to be that of main character, and that is exactly what Becky Hill has turned into here. The role of court clerk is really just supposed to oversee and to help and to make sure that the jurors are doing okay. Absolutely not to have any sort of undue influence like in this case. Now, I would agree with Misty that this, might have been foreshadowed with the oral arguments, but I also personally was rather shocked just given how unusual this is, Gotti. This really never happens. Even if people try, it really almost never happens.
Yeah, and when you just think about all the logistics that are going to go into trying to find a jury in that community or even beyond, Misty, like, how rare is something like this?
It's incredibly rare because there's so much deference at the appellate level to what the jury decided. They do not want to upset a jury verdict. But here the court was quite clear that these statements made by Becky Hill rose to the level of misconduct and actually were very, very egregious, impacting Murdoch's ability to have a fair trial. So watching this trial the whole way through, I don't think anybody was surprised by the fact that the jury convicted him. But then hearing about what unfolded after the fact and what she was doing, as Angela said, she's not a main character. Usually this is not even this is not a role that really gets a lot of airtime as the court clerk. So the fact that these statements were coming out to the jurors was something that really impacted his constitutional right to a fair trial.
Yeah, and Angela, watching that trial and seeing him take the stand, you could see prosecutors kind of boxing him in on questions. You could see the lies that were told in front of the jury and the proving that those were lies. If this all goes to a whole new trial, I imagine there's going to be a very different strategy from his defense, right?
Yeah, first of all, I would really be shocked if he decided to go back on that stand. Although, look, he has certainly maintained his innocence even now, and that's something that his lawyers continue to say, and that, so perhaps he will continue to do that. But I also think it's possible here, Gotti and Misty, that maybe there will be a deal cut, right? I mean, first of all, I don't know that even if the prosecutors are saying that they are going to pursue this, I mean, the costs are enormous. The questions around, a jury are also there. I think it's very possible that maybe that's on something that'll be on the table.
That's a very good point. Misty, what do you think about a potential deal here? Do you think that he would take that, given that he's already in jail for the financial crimes for decades?
Yeah, he's already in jail for the financial crimes. So from a practical perspective, would it really matter? No, not really. But what I will say is that he's maintained his innocence on these murders throughout the entirety of this case. So it really comes down to whether or not he would actually accept a deal. I could see how it's something prosecutors might contemplate because of the judicial economy, the amount of money and just the chaos surrounding a second time around in this case.
And that, once again, leads us back to even finding a jury that is impartial. Angela, is that possible in a small community like that?
Oh my gosh, Gotti, I find it hard pressed to even find that in this country at this point, especially with all of the hoopla around the documentaries and just people are fascinated by this. And fascinatingly enough, it's not even just the trial. It's actually Becky Hill herself, who's become somewhat of this internet celebrity with her book and with all of the talk she's done publicly. So do I think it's possible to find an impartial jury? There we certainly try. Do I believe that there will actually be real impartiality? Unlikely, Gotti.
Yeah, and that is, that is the cornerstone of so much of the decision that we're seeing come out today. Misty Marius, Angela Sinandela, really appreciate your time. Thank you, guys. And of course, tomorrow on the Today Show, Craig Melvin has an exclusive interview with Murdoch's legal team. They're going to talk about the ruling and what comes next for Alec Murdoch. And then on Friday, you can tune into Dateline as they dig further into today's decision to upend one of the country's highest profile murder cases. All of that is coming up, but don't go anywhere. Up next here on this show, President Trump is in China for a high-stakes meeting with the Chinese president over trade. But is Taiwan also going to come up? What to expect ahead? Plus, we are hearing from one of the Americans in isolation amid that hantavirus outbreak as a couple more states report potential exposures. And also, we are trying a little something new here. If you see this QR code, feel free to scan through. You can chat with us live during the breaks right now. People are chatting about the Murdoch trial, what we just saw. It will take you behind the scenes, streaming on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. Swing by and let us know your thoughts all hour long.
All right, 2 minutes, sir. Stay to the desk.
All right. Okay. What are you guys talking about? Let's see here. Is it Nebraska?
It is Nebraska. We have a winner for the House seat in Nebraska. NBC has a projection, so we will have that coming up shortly.
Dude, break it on the stream. Who is it?
That's why I'm telling you, and I'm on the stream, and they can hear me telling you.
Who is it? Who's the winner?
Denise Powell has won the Democratic nomination for Nebraska House seat. She is the Democratic nomination.
Got it. Okay. Got it. I'm seeing it's B. Is it B1?
It is going to be in headlines in coming up
Got
in
it.
about 10 minutes.
In C. Okay. Perfect. All right. Cool. All right. So now you see how the news is put together. That is Lisa Crivelli in the studio. That above us is a studio out in New York. I'm here in Los Angeles, and the rest of the team is out there in New York. Let's see. SML, hello. All right. Yeah, go for it. And we're going to test some animations, according to Sean here. Yeah, what'd you guys think about all of that? There's a lot to, I mean, it was crazy to see that. The Dateline episode, I loved watching it just because it brought back everything. And, you know, you hear all the work that went into the prosecution, and again, all the times that he was on stand, he was crying, you know, and they were asking those questions, all of it basically undone now. Yeah, what Angela said about main character is pretty fascinating. My laptop is under here. Here we go. You guys ready?
5, 4, 3.
Hey, welcome back. The other big story we are following tonight is President Trump's trip to China, where in just a few hours, he will meet with President Xi Jinping to start a 2-day high-stakes summit between the world's two leading superpowers. They are expected to talk about a lot of things. Trade, very possibly Taiwan, which both countries have very different takes on, and all of it happening in the shadow of the Iran war, leaving many questions on what role China could play, if any. NBC's Tom Yamas is on the ground in Beijing.
Tonight, President Trump arriving in China to a lavish welcome. Hundreds of kids waving Chinese and American flags as the president prepares to begin his high-stakes summit. Among the president's entourage, top American CEOs. You can see Elon Musk, and that's Jensen Huang, CEO of American AI chipmaker NVIDIA. President Trump posting he'll be asking President Xi to open up China to American businesses.
We're going to have a great meeting in China. You're wonderful guys.
Tonight, we spoke with retired Chinese senior colonel So Boa.
What do you think the Chinese government thinks of President Donald Trump?
I think we definitely would just lay out the red carpet to welcome him. He's coming when China is much stronger. Yeah, and when China is more confident.
President Trump trying to level the playing field for U.S. companies here. He's hit China with some of his biggest tariffs. And the U.S. trade deficit with China dropped 30% last year to around $200 billion. And there's a new battle over AI. A source tells NBC News NVIDIA's CEO was included in the delegation after a last-minute call from President Trump. The Trump administration accuses China of an industrial-scale effort to steal U.S. technology on AI. And there's a fierce debate over whether more American companies should sell AI computer chips to China.
Those chips allow us to be ahead in AI, and quite frankly, the Chinese want access to them.
And the new reaction tonight over the president's response when asked if America's financial situation motivated him to make a deal with Iran.
I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. The American people understand. When it's over, you're going to have a massive drop in the price of oil.
Democrats slamming the president.
He said, I don't think about Americans' financial situation. Can you believe it?
Republicans firing back.
The president thinks about Americans' financial situation, and we talk about it constantly.
Then there's Taiwan, the democratic, self-governing island that China's communist government claims as a part of its territory. How will President Trump respond when China's expected to push the U.S. to soften its stance on defending Taiwan?
What do you think the most important aspect of these negotiations is for China?
From the American side, I think it is more about the deals, different deals. But from Chinese side, I believe, Taiwan issue would be the top agenda.
Tom Yamas with that incredible report. Tom, thank you. And turning now to the deadly hantavirus outbreak, global cases are still at 11, but we are learning that a French woman who was on the cruise ship linked to the outbreak is now critically ill, and she's breathing with the help of an artificial lung. Meanwhile, here at home, there is a growing number of states that are reporting potential exposures to the virus, 16 in total, while 18 Americans remain in isolation at medical centers in Nebraska and Atlanta. Here's what one of them, who tested mildly positive, had to say from his biocontainment unit in Omaha.
Yeah, it's a little weird being in here by myself, but the nurses come in, the doctors come in. I'm on WhatsApp all the time. It's really amazing how quickly time flies.
Now let's go out to NBC News correspondent Camila Bernal out in Omaha. Camila, let's start with the quarantine patients. Any update on how they're doing and when they plan on going home?
Hey, Gotti, so the plan appears to be to stay here, and that's because today the CDC says they are encouraging all of the passengers here to remain at this facility, at least for the duration of the monitoring period. That is 42 days, and they're saying that the clock actually started on May 11th when they got off that plane after being on that ship. So it seems like all of them are agreeing to be here. We were told all of them are asymptomatic. I talked to a nurse who's been taking care of them and overseeing some of the operations here, and what she said is that they're developing an individual plan for all of them. Here's what she told me.
And so we got them settled in the rooms, got them a first meal, and oriented towards the floor and our team, and then really said, we'll come back tomorrow after you've had some time to sleep. I guess it wasn't tomorrow, but a few hours later, and really understand more around all of the different exposure risks, assessment, medical needs. But really, I think they were just grateful to be, in a place where they knew that they could rest for a while.
And there's at least one passenger, Jake Rosemarin, who has been posting on social media and showing us what it's like inside of that room, showing us his deliveries, his food, even his temperature checks. So he seems to be in good spirits. And in terms of that doctor who identified himself as the person who is in the biocontainment unit who tested mildly positive, he also said that he is feeling great, but also that he understands that this is a virus with a very long incubation period, which means that he could be here for a while as well, Gotti.
Along several weeks ahead. Meanwhile, what about the 16 states that are now monitoring exposure to the virus? Do we know how they were possibly exposed, and what are those state health departments doing?
Yeah, so it's different in every state. Some of the states are dealing with people that got off the ship early, so they were actually on that ship in terms of exposure. But other states are monitoring people who were exposed to either people who had tested positive or they flew next to someone, something along those lines. For example, we heard from Kansas today saying that there are 3 residents there who actually had close contact with someone who tested positive. So they were calling it a high-risk exposure. So they said those 3 people were actually sent to the hospital to be observed. So that is in Kansas. Texas, for example, saying that some of the passengers that got off of that ship and are in their state are being monitored. They say they're taking their own temperatures and reporting their own symptoms. So someone from the state is either visiting or calling or doing a video call to make sure that no symptoms develop. As far as we know, none of the states have asked people to quarantine, but we do know that all of them are essentially monitoring the situation, Gotti.
NBC's Camila Bernal. Camila, thank you. And coming up, controversy brewing over reports that ICE could make an appearance at World Cup matches. What we're learning there. That's next. We've got this ICE report on ICE agents potentially outside of the World Cup. And then, let's see, what else do we have coming up? There's Weinstein deliberation, Corey Richins sentencing, and then we go Artemis. Yep, let me do that right now here. Can you hear me now? Sorry, I muted myself because I had the most, horrific sneeze a little bit earlier. Let's see. New York, Tennessee, but Denise Powell. It's Brinker Harding, right, in the general election?
2 minutes.
Don Bacon. Okay, cool. Lisa has his mic off, William. Yeah, sometimes Lisa just, shuts me right up. What are you laughing at? Check your sound. Can you guys hear me okay? I know Lisa can. She can't escape my voice, but can the chat? Can you guys hear me? Audio is not coming in. How about now? Check. We're back. Okay, good. You should show what block the show is at the top of the control room split. That's a really good idea. Right now we are B block? No, C block. We're in the C block, right?
C block.
Yeah.
You know how some shows have like the rundown on the side? Could do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You silenced my boy for having too much motion. Yeah, I do move around a lot.
1 minute.
1 minute. We got 1 minute. Oh, that's why you guys are saying bless you, because I sneezed. And here I was thinking I was sneaky, muting myself. Here we go. Waiting for the big screen. Yeah. I don't know about the chat function on the big screen. I think there's some weird legal Section 230 issues, but yeah, it's so interesting because we have different chat experiences in different. I mean, I'm seeing almost everything when I'm looking right now, but Twitch is very chill. TikTok gets a little spicy, but a lot going on in TikTok today. And then YouTube, is the YouTube people. So it's very interesting to see the different flavors. Oh, interesting. 10 seconds. Here we go.
4, 3.
Hey, welcome back. As the countdown begins for the 2026 FIFA World Cup here in the United States, there's this new controversy already brewing about the tournament. ICE officers could be present at World Cup matches this summer, according to 2 DHS officials. The agency says the officers wouldn't be checking immigration status of fans or workers, but would instead help with more security around the perimeters of the games. It's similar to what we saw at the Super Bowl earlier this year, where the presence of federal officers drew backlash and sparked big protests. Now, with hundreds of thousands of fans expected to travel from across the globe, questions are already being raised about whether the presence of ICE could affect fans attending it.
Well, Gotti, there's been a lot of talk about what ICE's presence at the World Cup might look like, and a lot of speculation. And what we've learned now, we can report now on NBC News from 2 DHS officials, is that ICE has indeed been offering themselves as a security backup to local law enforcement who are securing World Cup matches in their cities starting now in less than a month. And they will be doing security if these offers are accepted and not doing immigration vetting. Those who are pulled in for security, they say it'll look a lot like securing the Super Bowl or the Kentucky Derby, which they did most recently, and that they will not be doing immigration checks as part of that security. However, ICE has not yet sent out a memo internally to say whether or not ICE officers who are in the area, as after all, there are 25 field offices around the country that cover the entire country. If those officers are in the area doing immigration arrest, no guidance has gone out to them yet to say whether or not they are off limits, whether they're prohibited from going into those matches, or whether or not they should use those matches as a place where they could do what they would call targeted enforcement, going after people that they're looking for. So some questions still remain in the balance, but we are getting a little bit more of a window into ICE's plan around DHS, around the World Cup, DHS's plan for ICE, rather, around the World Cup, and what that might look like. Now, FIFA so far has not responded to our reporting about whether or not they're in favor of this or not. What we've heard previously from the FIFA president is that he welcomes the help of U.S. law enforcement, even federal law enforcement, to make the matches as safe as they possibly can be. But of course, there's a lot of fear, especially among fans, going into this World Cup in the United States because of the history of ICE, particularly over the last year, where ICE was involved in one fatal shooting, Border Patrol involved in another of U.S. citizens, and also increased arrests that that seem to be at random of people who may look like they have violated immigration laws. So all of that is new context, new things we're learning as we lead into the World Cup. And of course, we'll keep you updated as we learn more. Gotti.
Julia Ainsley, thank you so much. And coming up, a look at some wild video of the moment an officer rushes into a burning home to rescue a family inside. Stay tuned for that. Dun, dun, dun. Room multi-views would be good feed for a show if possible. It might be a lot for a first-time viewer. I agree, Hi. Interestingly, hey, Hi, have you ever seen our show? I'm wondering if you've seen our show on the television with just the full show after this type of experience. And if you have, is it more fun to just watch and not have to think about stuff, or do you still like the multi-view here? On the NBC News feed or behind-the-scenes feed, yeah, no spamming, people. If you guys are talking about like some random tangents that have nothing to do with all this stuff and you're making it hard for people to follow the conversations about the show, spamming is not looked upon kindly around here. But SML, you are on great behavior today. William, Lisa, anything new about the aliens? Why are you asking her? She's not from around here. You think she's from this planet?
Because William knows everything about everything.
Oh man, guess what? Wait, 90 seconds? Okay, so then we got the D block, then we're going to break, and then I can get my rockets, right?
You were supposed to go get your rockets before.
I have them, they're right here.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, I think we just have a little bit of time. Jay Place wants to see the full rundown in the side of the show. And Doreen, it's good to know that you're not an alien. But Fractal, who let Fractal in here? Hi, Fractal. Greetings. This is not the leadership of Earth. You're looking in the wrong place. I'd rewatch the multi-view to see what happens in the studio with the Snoop cam. Oh, you're a real one. That's awesome. Lisa wasn't off. She was around, but she was at home. We did have it. I like watching with my loud kids in the room. Campbell, tell your loud kids we said hello, and hopefully they're gonna fix this world for us because it's a mess. And then get Johnny Rockets. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hey, welcome back. Here are some of the other headlines we are watching tonight. NBC News is projecting that Denise Powell has won the Democratic primary for Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. She's going to face off in November against Republican Brinker Harding in the general election. That seat went up for grabs when Republican Congressman Don Bacon chose not to run for re-election. And a jury in New York has started deliberating in the Harvey Weinstein rape retrial. They heard nearly 3 weeks of testimony, including 5 days from actress Jessica Mann, who says Weinstein raped her in 2013. This was a conviction that was overturned 2 years ago, then retried, but declared a mistrial last year. And in Tennessee, body cam footage shows a cop running into a burning home, rescuing that family inside. He safely evacuated a 4-year-old girl, her brother, their mom, and thankfully no one was hurt. The mom said she tried to thank the officer, but he shrugged it off like it was just another day at work. And Corey Richards was sentenced to life in prison today. Prosecutors say she laced her husband's cocktail with a fatal dose of fentanyl and was found guilty of aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, fraud, and forgery back in March. That case, you might remember, gained national attention after Richards wrote a children's book about grief following her husband's murder. And Matthew Perry's drug counselor, Eric Fleming, was sentenced to 2 years in prison today. Prosecutors say he sold 51 vials of liquid ketamine to the Friend star, including the dose that eventually killed him. Fleming pled guilty to conspiracy to distribute ketamine and distribution of ketamine resulting in death or serious injury. And still to come, NASA giving us some new insight into the next chapter of space exploration and what an Artemis 3 mission could look like. But first, you gotta see this, because this little piggy definitely did not stay home. Police in Dayton, Ohio were called after Hamlet the pig escaped his yard and started wandering around the neighborhood. Body cam footage shows officers trying to wrangle Hamlet, but officers were eventually able to get him off the streets and back home to his owner. Talk about bringing home the bacon. We'll be right back. Watching TV, just watch you on my cell phone because of this chat. William, hey, thanks, that's awesome. I have, William is a real one, and I think he's out in Puerto Rico. That is awesome. Let's see. When are we getting the second multi-view stream with every single feed joke? That would be awesome. I wish the chat was more focused on graphics or the show in general instead of politics. Fair. Just to show the control room split screen all the time. Also fair. Less studio, more control room. I like that.
Here is more Lisa, less Gotti.
Less me,
Yes.
more you guys. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's find the main characters here.
How long?
2 minutes. He said it would take a minute, but who knows if that's a firm minute.
Okay, can we bring something
What's
up in
going on?
case?
All we have is rap.
Steve Robertson is rebooting his computer, so we're not sure if we're going to get him in time.
Uh-oh.
We have the
That's okay, I
RAF
can stall. I've
Asla.
got my rockets.
Can you stall?
Yeah, I got my rockets over here.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, how long do you guys need and what's our time back?
You got a minute 45.
A minute 45. Are we here for this whole time?
Yeah, the intro to him is about a minute 10.
Okay.
And he's rebooting as we speak right now. So once you get through the intro, if you want to dance a little bit, you have time, and I will count you down to him.
You're gonna eventually move here with Steve.
Okay.
If you wanna.
Okay.
So you'll be right here with Steve.
Got it. We got the whole rocket garden. Okay.
Then you'll be on camera.
Steve will be in the big wall. Okay, and if he's not, then we could just talk about the Rockets. Love it. Okay, got it. What's our time back?
You got 45.
45 seconds. Okay. Did you guys hear that? So we're having a little bit of a technical glitch. Our astronaut, he's got a problem with his computer, so he's rebooting. So if we don't get him in time, we'll just chat about the Rockets and SLS and all the fun stuff. Wait, what is my... This was not supposed to be here. This is Apollo. What am I thinking? This is not an Apollo mission. Yeah. Let's see. What does he mean by time back? So time back to show. 20 seconds. You hear Big Mike over there. He's stressing. So I should probably get in position. Here we go. Thank you, brother. Oh, and he's back. Nice. Perfect timing.
5, 4, 3.
Hey, welcome back. And about a month ago, we saw NASA's Artemis II crew come back from their glorious flyby of the moon. And tonight, we are learning more about the next chapter, Artemis III. You'll remember the Artemis II launch had that massive SLS rocket. It's this one right here. They were sitting right on top. They went all the way around the moon, but Artemis III is not going to be just about this rocket. It's supposed to also be about this rocket. Starship, SpaceX's Starship, which is getting ready to possibly debut its third version next week, and also maybe even this rocket, Blue Origin's New Glenn. Best case scenario, Artemis III is going to involve maybe both of these rockets as well as the main Orion capsule, and it's because this one over here, SLS, it doesn't have a lunar lander. It's SpaceX, it's Blue Origin that are supposed to be giving us a way down and then back up from the lunar surface. And if you're thinking, wait, what? Like that sounds very confusing. Why not just, I know, It is a very weird time in space right now. This transition time between the old space age stuff and the new space age stuff. And Artemis 3, it kind of boils down to making sure the old school and the new school are fully compatible. So NASA is saying that they are going to spiff up the Orion capsule just a little bit. They're upgrading that heat shield we've been talking about after that more aggressive re-entry profile that they really want to try. And that is the fiery part where the crew capsule burns its way back into the atmosphere, slowing down. Let's bring in former NASA astronaut Steve Robinson, one of my favorite people to talk about space with. Steve, great to see you. So originally, Artemis 3 was going to go to the moon. Now it looks like it's going to be just doing a lot of aerobatics in Earth's orbit, including linking up with the Starship lunar lander and maybe even the New Glenn. Technically speaking, how hard do you think this mission is going to be compared to Artemis 2?
This is going to be kind of like the circus tricks where the guys on the flying trapeze have to clasp hands in the middle of it. But it'll be much slower and more perfectly and carefully done. Now, some of this was tested out on the recent mission that you just talked about, Caddy, and it's good to see you again, by the way. Now, if you're going to go to the moon, you need landers, like you said, and it could be during the Artemis 3 mission, it may be both landers will be in Earth orbit, not lunar orbit, but Earth orbit, to make sure that, number one, they can support human life. Number two, they can navigate, communicate, propulsion systems work well, and finally, be able to dock with the part where the crew would transfer into the lander. So the rendezvous, which is coming close together, the docking, which is linking together, latching together, so you have an airtight seal that humans can actually pass through. That is a lot of complicated stuff that has never been tested before. Very exciting.
Yeah. There are so many fill-in-the-blank details that we have not yet seen for a mission that is supposed to be a year out. We just had that picture of the lunar landers. Those designs, those are mock-ups right now, and I know that they're not 100% finalized, but like time is ticking. How realistic do you think this timeline for getting all this put together for next year is right now?
It's realistic to think that it's ever going to happen if you really think about what we're doing here. But now we're talking about late 2027. And given that the contracts for these landers were let in the early 2020s, I think it's about time that the hardware is starting to show up for testing. I was at NASA Johnson last week. You could see mock-ups of at least one of those landers in the big astronaut training facility there. So it's hard to believe all this is coming true, but it really is. This is becoming real.
Yeah, it's becoming real. And, you know, I'd be remiss if I did not use our little rockets here. But, I mean, we're talking about this size. This is 1/200th. But this is the Starship. This is how much payload we might be able to put up on the moon compared to this capsule. If we can get a lunar lander that is even close to this big, real fast here, what kind of game changer is that?
One of the biggest game changers is the ability to add fuel in orbit, which has only been tested on a small scale before. And so you have to get to the moon with a rocket that big, you have to fill it full of propellant, and that's what's going to be tested.
And that means more rockets. We could talk about this for another hour, and we probably will. So great to see you. Thank you so very much for joining us. That does it for us for tonight. I'm Gotti Schwartz. We'll see you here tomorrow. But until then, stay tuned to NBC News Now. That was perfect. That was real. Man, he is so, I love him so much. Yeah, and did you see the timing on that? Guys, we hit 6 right on the dot. Lisa was stressed. Sean was stressed. Big Mike knew we had it. He knew we had it. He's always cool as a cucumber. No, Big Mike has never, ever, ever been stressed in his life, and it's one of the things that I love about it. Author Devin, love this segment, space travel. It's amazing, given the opportunity. You too. Oh, thanks so much. Wait, guys, but do you even know? Can I just show you? Because we didn't get to get into it very much. So if you guys are unfamiliar with what's going to happen with Artemis 3, okay, this is the SLS, right? Hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay, so this is the SLS, and this part right here, this teeny tiny part that is like nothing, is the Orion capsule. And then back in the day, for the Apollo mission, again, 1/200th, Apollo mission, this was the capsule, and then the lunar lander was put inside of here, all the way to where I put this little mark, right? So just this much, this teeny tiny bit went to the moon. And it was like, there was a bunch of, protective shielding here, and then it broke apart, and then there was this little lunar lander, and we put rovers on there and stuff. So look at this much stuff compared to this. Like, that is so much more payload. That is potentially 100 tons, they're saying, of payload. That is, more space than the entire ISS. And imagine we would be able to just put that payload on the moon over and over and over again. It is like the invention of the semi up in space that we're seeing happen. That's what Artemis 3 is going to start doing. But first, we got to make sure all those systems are compatible. Guys, space is going to get freaking crazy. And we're going to talk about it so much that you guys are going to be like, no more space. And I'm going to be like, please, just a little bit more. But yeah, what makes us excited about what's happening in the future? Campbell, you're so lucky you watched the first Apollo mission in 2nd grade. My grandpa, he was an engineer on the Apollo, a few of the Apollo missions, and helped build the launch pad. So it's very near and dear to my heart. And if the aliens can do it, we can do it better. That's the spirit. That's the spirit, William. See you tomorrow. Hi, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and we'll be back at it. So stay tuned.